Assalamualaikum and hi, I'm your Hanis and Abdurrahman.
Hello.
Welcome to the interview. You guys ready?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, alright, cool. So
Sure,
please
whenever.
introduce yourself. Which one, if you want to go, Amir or Abdurrahman?
I'm gonna go
Hisham first.
first. Oh
Hisham
my
first.
god. All right. Hi, my name is Abdurrahman Hisham. I'm from Sudan and I'm 21 years old. I don't. Do you need to know anything else?
I think that's all. You need to. Okay, alright. Amir?
Hi guys. My name is Amir. From Malaysia, and yeah, a friend of Paris, and that guy right there. And I'm sorry if there's a background noise. Apparently, my neighbor has some construction, so yeah.
No, it's fine. So far your sound is okay. Okay, alright.
Yeah.
So we start off. Yeah, we'll be talking about the topic child marriage. So first question: on what ground does child marriage matter to social life in Malaysia or in Sudan? Which one you want to go first?
I guess I'll go first.
Okay, all right.
Mm.
I think it still exists. It's not something that people think matters or not, but it's something that happens. You hear about it happening to
Mm,
family to another family. Some people treat it like it's normal to an extent, as in that it really isn't fundamentally wrong or anything. Uh, but others have taken a turn against that, really there isn't much of an argument that I hear in my country, at least. So I don't hear like these voices arguing about it as much because there's other priorities.
oh, okay.
So it tends to seem like a normal thing happening sometimes,
Okay, all right then. What about you, Amir?
unfortunately.
Uh, I'm not sure about Malaysia, but I guess I mean I haven't heard it since I'm back here. It doesn't
Mm,
seem like something in normal, but I know for sure it's there. It's very
yeah.
subtle, and it's like if it happens, it's gonna be big news.
Yeah.
But as all I know, people these days they don't really see marriage, child marriage as a good thing to do. So I
True.
guess that's like a bit subtle in a way.
Like yeah, there are like I got to see a few of it from TikTok. Like 14 years old and 16 years old Malaysians, they already got married to a
In
22 year
Malaysia?
old. Yeah, in
Yeah,
Wow.
Malaysia.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah. I
Especially in the
found
state
some
of,
TikTok.
especially in
that
the state of
is
Kelantan and Terengganu.
Yeah.
that is definitely less subtle than I thought. And
Mm.
on
yeah,
TikTok, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
but I mean, usually this happens is like on the places where, like, I don't know, a case of poverty. I mean, usually financial cases is always one of the top factors that make cause
Mm.
child marriage.
Hmm.
Yeah, in
So
most cases, yes.
Yeah.
I can see that happening, especially because a lot of people actually like it. Mainly happens because of exploitation.
Mm.
So in terms of like money, or so that is relevant to that, I guess.
All right. So move on to the next question. How common it is in aspects of religious?
I mean, what do you think first?
I feel like it's quite common. I mean, in Islam, and come on, and we learn from the history, all these wives of the oldest people in the Islamic history. I mean, I can talk only about Islam. I mean, they married at a young age, so I guess it's in religion.
Mm-hmm.
Really it seems okay, but I guess after some
I
time, people it doesn't seem okay. I don't know.
mm.
That's my view. I feel like the mindset have changed from back then to now.
Yeah.
So, and
Hmm.
other religion as well. I mean, it goes to this along with the same thing.
Mm-mm.
I guess that's my view.
Okay.
For me, I think if you're strictly asking how common it is, I think there's a lot of like cases or instances, especially in religious stories, where you hear about it
Mm.
happening. But I think that for me personally, I think that tends to make it misunderstood, or like the situations happening in religious stories or cases, they tend to have context that matters, and usually that's not as out there as the story itself. So it tends to be seem a bit more common than it might be, I think.
So maybe in the end, like it's all like come to agreement. You cannot like one side agree and the other like the husband is 22 and the wife is 14. The wife doesn't agree, but still they have to get married. But it's all come down to
That's like
agreement, right?
a
Actually,
forced marriage.
That's
I
yeah,
think
like a forced marriage.
I think forced marriage isn't really something that religion preaches, like Islam at least, in my perspective. That's what I mean by it's been misunderstood. I
Mm,
mean, child marriage wouldn't be as common if, for example, the money that was paid by the husband went to the wife like it was supposed to, instead of going to the family, right? And that's what makes it
Yeah.
relevant in poor areas like Amir mentioned.
true.
And if she had a choice most of the time, she could say no.
True, true.
Also, I think
If
it
she have
needs
the
a
choice.
little maturity for not just like you know the wife or the both of them need to have maturity to realize what they're getting into.
True, true.
So yeah.
What do you think are the reasons of child marriage in instead of politics and religious affair?
For me, like I said originally, misrepresentation, but
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, like uh, being stubborn and putting a foot down about Sharia law, for example. If you want to, like, politically, implementing Sharia law is actually quite tricky. If you want to implement it, you have to really explain the common sense behind it. And like I said, child marriage is already quite misrepresented in the in all communities, right?
Yeah.
So what happens is politically, governments or rulers, they put a foot down, I think, and they make it Sharia law, but they don't clarify how or why to actually apply that, and so people tend to exploit it. So I guess at the end of the day, it's down to the mindset of the governing body. Like, do they want it to be a religious country or not?
I see.
What about you, Amir?
Wait, I gotta clarify with you. When you say they put the foot down,
Okay.
in a way, it's like, and then with the fact of Sharia law idea, in a way, proposing it to happen.
What do you know? I'm saying
Taking
that
it
that basically Sharia law is just stated that it is
It's
uh,
forbidden.
it
Or
Sharia law stated that it is in certain sense not exactly allowed, because it wouldn't be allowed really if you think about all the factors, right? That the person has to be mature enough mentally, not just physically. The person also has to be, has to be given the money and a lot of other things. So I think just Sharia law basically said it might be possible under very, very rare circumstances, or like, okay, or in specific cases, or something like that. But that's not clarified anywhere. It's just that it happens to be a part of the Sharia law that was implemented in the end of the day. That's what I think.
Okay.
Oh,
So
I don't know. I mean, for me, I mean, instead of political and religious affair, political, I'm not sure. I mean, sure. I mean, back in the days they do it, but in the current days, do they even do it? Do the political people even still doing it?
uh probably rarely.
I
Yeah,
think super conservatives, maybe
Hmm.
yeah, but I don't know. In terms of
extremely like
yeah, but I don't know. I feel like in terms of religious affair, it's much more common than than the political.
yeah, but sometimes religious affairs do affect political affairs.
Yeah,
Oh.
usually
yeah, true, correct. Like
not really.
regardless in what country you are, unfortunately
True.
that happened.
Yeah, it's hard to separate between religion and law if you want to order with the religion in mind.
No, that
So
depends on the country. You
that's what
can.
I'm
Yeah,
saying.
especially when the country already like officialized the particular religion for the
Right.
country.
Exactly. So if they already like set it as the religion for the country, they're gonna have to connect them together. Then it becomes hard to separate. Otherwise, if they don't have an official one, then they can separate and try to appeal to each religion.
Moving on to the next one. Where and how does this tradition begin? The child marriage thing.
Honestly, aside from uh, religion, I think maybe it's about the whole dowry thing, like poor families
Ah,
wanting
yeah,
or
correct.
needing, so they think of it as selling off, which is incredibly messed up. But yeah,
Ah,
You mean like uncircumstances background, family background, right?
well, if I'm saying if the in the past, I think it was more common, you know,
Yeah.
mm.
when the family would be poor and someone would be like, well, I have money and you have a daughter. So, and that's messed up. But it used.
Yeah.
I think that's where it kind of began. To me, I haven't read up more on it.
Okay.
So
No, it is true. Your term of using the word selling off is somewhat very true of what they're doing. I mean, I guess
it
that's
is.
how the whole this all of this thing starts. I mean,
Yeah.
it's pretty common in countries and all the third world countries as well
True.
about this thing.
True. Yeah. If you see how common it is in third world, first world, I
Ah,
guess.
Yeah,
good.
I guess that's how the tradition starts.
What are the factors that comes to child marriage in between two parties involved, like the adult and the married child?
If you're talking about how did the family come aboard with the decision of that child marriage to happen, I mean,
Yeah,
as we
yeah.
mentioned a lot previously, money is one of the thing.
Is it like mainly
Uh,
money?
I mean, usually it is. I mean, usually it is. That's the thing. Usually it is. Another would be benefit maybe from, let's say, if we take like in terms of the political and religious affairs, that part. I mean, people who have powerful families, they tend to marry their kids at a young age, maybe because of the benefits that come from having relation of the two families. So in a way, they can maybe expand their power
Ah,
in
Do you think that
country
it could
wise.
be something else too?
I think if you think in a super conservative way, I've read somewhere that some people consider this okay because of well, how to say, well, according to religious, if I were to say it in a religious way, because getting married early keeps them away from sins.
From sin.
From
Yeah,
what
that's
I've,
true.
from what I've read, it says
ah,
like if you do it, if they're married, they won't have to. If
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
married since young, they won't have to worry about it.
dang.
Ah,
I
But
find,
besides, yeah,
I mean, that reason can be valid, but that reason can be valid of why they're doing it. But I find that a very, very ridiculous reason for it.
it's kind of
exactly. I was like, no, actually, every reason to child marriage is ridiculous.
Mm.
it's a
I mean,
little
yeah,
of
yeah,
very flawed reasoning actually.
yeah.
But I'm not sure what other reasons can there be actually. I kind of want to know.
I mean, yeah.
I can't think of a possible reasonable
Possible
explanation.
acceptable reason, maybe like logical reason as to why the child marriage happened, but
I would
usually
say, I don't
this
know, maybe
thing.
it just okay, just maybe the one that I know is
Mhm.
that when um when the parents had some accidental dealership that they made with the adult before, like based on their work. For example, it's something like the parents did this mistake, and then that guy suddenly knew about it. So the guy
It's a
was
way to
like,
pay
okay, you
off
know
debt.
what? If you want me to shut up, then I'm gonna marry your kid. Something like that.
So
Uh,
blackmail.
A black.
it's like the way
Yeah,
to
yeah,
pay
yeah,
off
yeah, yeah,
debt.
like a blackmail.
Oh.
So to me, it seems like if there's any reason that a child marriage is happening, it's corrupt in one way or another. It
Nah.
seems
Yeah,
like either blackmail or pretty much like slavery, selling
pedophilia.
a person off, which is both cases just messed up.
uh,
But what surprises me is that you still hear it in a religious context. But in those cases, it's very like when you hear about the person in the story itself, I think you don't really feel like you're hearing about a kid,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
You don't feel like you're hearing about a kid. You feel like they're talking about that person as if they're mature, they know what they're doing. I don't
oh.
think that like it happens without some exceptional reason and for it to be justified anyways for me personally.
What do you think about that kind of adults who have a thing for a child and they suddenly got into these words to the kid's parents so that they could marry the child, you know? What do you
This
think
is
of the
like
adult that have a like a kink
yeah,
for kids?
yeah, well basically
That's just messed up.
it's
Yeah.
almost like they're trying to say justified pedophilia, which is
Yeah.
it doesn't work together. You can't justify pedophilia.
uh,
Yeah.
Ew.
So
just
Do
can
they say
ignore
that
the pedophile.
pedophilia is a mental illness? Or is it like a
Oh,
behavioral problem like a bully?
that's interesting, actually. But
okay.
I think, in my
It's
opinion,
not.
honestly, it's
I don't think it's mental. For some, it doesn't feel like a
Yeah,
mental
yeah,
problem,
yeah. I
but
read
I
before.
feel
it does
like it
not feel
is.
like a full-on behavioral problem too.
Huh?
I
I
feel,
feel like it is. I feel like it is a bit of a little mental.
yeah, that's why I said I don't think it's fully mental because I feel like there's some hint of being a bit mental
But
problem.
look,
Yeah.
regardless, it's like so if you say it's mental, basically you're saying that wait, what do you mean by behavioral? Sorry, just to
You know,
clarify.
a bully, a person
Mm,
who bully other people.
mm.
It's not a mental illness. It's a behavioral problem. You know.
It's
Okay,
just
so
when
he wants to do it. He wants to do it because it's wrong, not because something is wrong with him.
Yeah,
That kind of thing.
yeah,
Okay.
and they already know that that thing is wrong, but they still,
No,
you know,
I see it as mental. I see it more as mental because if you say it's no, well, it's
wait,
mental, but like the
does does
it's
desires considered as mental?
to an extent. I mean, if you think about like what interests a person have,
Yeah.
you get me.
ew,
It's
So
not that they chose to have those interests, just in
yeah.
general. Okay, but
So
I'm just saying that that doesn't mean that these people shouldn't be held accountable for their actions. Just
Mm,
yeah,
because
true.
something went through your mind doesn't mean that you'll actually do it.
act on it.
Um, Act on it. Yeah, it doesn't mean that. There
okay.
needs to be control, and I'm not saying that it's easy. But if you're just generally a good person, you would see what is the right thing to do and not to do,
Yeah.
regardless of your impulses or your desires or whatever.
Right. Move on to our next question. What are the parents? What can the parents benefit in the term of letting their underage child get married to an adult?
Uh, it boils down to financials to me.
Yeah.
Again,
Mm,
either they're directly getting paid for it, or they're literally just cannot support one more mouth in the family. So they're like, okay,
Yeah.
you take care of that child
What if for those kind of parents who force their kid to marry an adult?
with no benefit, without like getting paid or anything. They just happen to.
Mm-hmm.
It just happens to be a crazy flipping flipping.
I think they probably had that. Someone probably did that to them too. Again, their
Yeah.
parents probably did that to them too.
oh, okay. So like
It's one.
their
It's
culture,
because
like.
usually this type
I
of thing.
think
It
I feel
happens
like,
on the
but
past.
yeah, not always, but they could just be sick of having another person at home, just like.
Mm.
No, it is somewhat like a trend because all this thing when a parent does thing to the kids, actually
Of
that's what they
course,
also experienced in the past.
of
Like even
course.
if you take the cases of uh this might be off topic. If you take a cases of being a child being sexually abused, and the mom is just letting it go, is the reason she's letting it go is because in the past she thought of it as a normal thing because she went through it. So
Oh.
maybe it
Yeah,
goes
That
the
is
child
it.
out, and
it's messed up,
yeah,
but yeah, I understand what you're trying to say.
Mm.
yeah, it is messed up, but
Yeah,
Messed
yeah.
up things do get passed down the line,
yeah.
unfortunately. So,
The cycle doesn't end.
yeah, unfortunately.
All right.
All right.
Move on
Last
to our last
last
question.
question.
Yeah, Faris, you can go first.
Okay. So finally is what is the media portrayal on child marriage practices in your country?
In Sudan, I don't think it really get portrayed. It really gets portrayed in media. Uh, Heck, I don't see an awful lot of types of media in Sudan. If I'm honest with you guys, personally, I'm not very
Alright.
connected to that type of
The
social.
person stuck in social media.
I'm not even on social media that often to begin with, but
Uh-huh.
Sudan's social media even less. So,
Oh.
yeah, I can't answer that. I think.
What about you, Amir?
Uh, I mean,
Step
in
is
Malaysia,
high.
I don't hear it as much. That's why I said in the beginning, in terms of Malaysia,
Mhm.
I don't hear it as much, even on
Mm-hmm.
social media. And I do believe that people disagree with the thing. So the social media definitely portrays a disagreement on child marriage.
Mm.
But back in Saudi, I don't think so too, right? Sure.
I think it happens. I think it
It
does
happens
happen.
in Yemen, in the middle. I think in Middle East
Oh,
happened
in Yemen,
in Yemen.
I heard a lot of it about it happening in Yemen actually.
Mm.
Yeah,
In
do
some
Uh,
tell.
people.
I heard a story where again they basically found the family just essentially sold their daughter off for a
Yeah.
Oh,
huge sum of
Oh
money.
my.
Essentially, basically they were like,
really?
"We'll let you have a." I think she was 12, and
Yeah.
My God.
I think a week into marriage, she
No,
actually.
I heard a lot of stories from Yemen about child
Spill.
marriage
Spill it
happenings.
out. Spill the tea.
Nah, it's just the typical reasons. Money, money is the typical reason.
Money, money. Basically,
It's all
money.
about money.
And
Makes me
not
wonder
only money,
actually that
for
that
them so
does.
that they can spend less amount of money to pay for
Oh
food.
yeah, so it boils down to financials.
Yeah,
Mm.
But it does make me wonder if there are um, people who find it as like they're convinced it's the correct thing to do, regardless of money or
Uh-huh.
benefits. They're just like, our daughter is of age now, she's
Mm.
gonna go marry. I'm not sure.
Do you guys think like okay the child is you said 12. Does she continue to be a student or just change as a housewife?
If we're talking about that specific case of that story I was telling, that child actually died
Oh.
because
Shit.
biological reasons.
Oh
Oh
my God.
my
Uh,
god.
No.
yeah, yeah.
how do you know
She's a
whether
kid, man.
Dude.
What do you think is gonna
she's
happen?
a
Oh
kid?
no.
Yeah,
Uh-uh.
So, in basically, their life gets ruined. Period. But
Oh.
if you're asking about someone who was like 14 or something, I can hands down guarantee you they're gonna be a housewife.
Mm-hmm.
if,
Because
if,
look, in this kind of setup, you're talking about a person marrying at the age. Why do you think this happens so commonly to females more than males? Because in this setup in general,
Uh-huh.
uh,
Uh-huh.
they're relying on the concept that, oh, the male is going to provide for the family, so the
Yeah.
kid doesn't need to be that old anyways,
Hmm.
which is
Ah.
very flawed again. But the whole point is like the patriarchy of the situation.
True. True,
So
true, true.
the man is going to be old enough and he's going to have a job or whatever, and the kid doesn't need to be concerned with that. So what's going to happen to the girl? She's going to become a housewife, that's for sure.
So Iris, now that we have discussed, we have interviewed our friends Amir and Abdurrahman about child marriage. What can we conclude from there?
I like that the fact that we can come to terms of agreement on this child marriage, regardless of any country that we are in, and the fact that it also comes to all those same factors of child marriage, just like even though you are in different culture preferences
Preferences.
and religious,
That's
like
one.
other than the fact that me myself as a Muslim or other people as a Hindus or just any religion or any culture, it's just that they can see what we can see, and also it's not something unusual, unfortunately. It's something that how do you say, it's quite normal, that happened from the past until now.
And it's been normalized.
Yeah. In fact, that's still gonna happen until
Yes,
today,
it will,
right?
Yeah. Just that it's rare. Like you don't see it on everyday occasions, but you can find it on social medias. Like one of it is TikTok. There's this like a 22-year-old guy who married to a 16-year-old little girl, and they're having a wedding about it. But yeah.
Yeah, that is when the media started to expose things that we don't see outside of the world.
Yeah,
Like,
true.
thankfully to the media,
Yes.
in any kind of social media, it's like it's kind of like a wide. It's like quite accessible for the information for us need to know about it, to be aware on it, especially the safety of the kids, and what the necessity of the children needs now.
True. And the other thing is not just like the child's needs. It's also to get a better status for the family, for both sides. Maybe for example, like the guy's family is maybe rich, and has a title of dato, for example, and then maybe that's why the family from the girl's side, they find it that there's an advantage of marrying to a family that has a title of dato.
Yeah.
That's why they want to get married at it, even though the child is young, but still because of the parents' decision, they wanted to get married just for the status of the family.
Yeah, and also based on the research that I did, it's not that I'm not aware of it. I do. It's just not that deep because I'm not that much in social media. And I found this one case of where the reason why the reason why that the daughter had to marry an old man is because of the parents owe that guy something.
Oh.
Yeah, and that guy was like, okay, how about this? I'm gonna negotiate with you. If you let me marry your daughter, your 16-year-old daughter, then whatever things that you owe me are considered done.
So can you consider it as a blackmail?
Yeah, it could be. It could be considered as a blackmail.
Oh. Yeah. It's quite messed up.
Yeah, true. And then there's another factor of child marriage between like a 16-year-old girl and also another 60-year-old guy, but with parental consent. Somehow, personally, to me, I still think that is a issue that need to be looked out more, because they are kids, and marriage gonna consider a lot of things like mentally, emotionally, your
household responsibilities.
Yes, and also your financial stability, especially because you're gonna carry a lot more responsible in a marriage because you're gonna have kids. And when you have kids, they're gonna need like this medical needs or something, and then for the school and stuff. So basically, that factor what we need to do with it is give more sex educations on it. We need more sex education in school
Yes, yes.
because of our whole they are. The sex education is a need. It should be a priority at school.
Yes. I mean, like back then, back in, from what I heard from my like great grandfathers and grandmothers, kids are allowed to get married at a young age, like 12 or 8 years old,
As
because
long
at
as they hit puberty.
no, not really. It's because there was at a time where it was difficult to get a education, and also
Okay.
it's more on like it doesn't matter your age. It's more important for you to get a job than get education, because education at that time was really difficult. That's why the young kids are allowed to get married at a young age. But I don't know if that's with their parents' consent, but also but at least that's from what I heard lah. Because like I said, it was difficult to find education, but it's easier to get a job, so they just straight up get married at a young age.
Yeah, and we can actually see these cases in Malaysia a lot, unfortunately, other than other countries.
Yeah.
So it's quite an unfortunate especially for the girls. Macam like they don't really have a choice because we are kind of stick to this society of okay, men have to provide and then women have to stay at home. Some sort of thing, and there's that especially that if you even if like an independent girl, you don't really get much of a how do you say it, like work opportunity. Like if you
I thought nowadays they do. No?
yeah, they kind of do, but when it comes to like a promotion, women tends to get much longer promotion than what men can do.
Because of
In most cases, lah, not all,
yeah,
just
yeah.
most cases.
Maybe because of like what they trust more to men than women, is it?
Probably, probably, and
There's like a
personally,
bias.
yeah, personally to me, I kind of prefer that it's a behavioral problem, like that pedophilia thingy.
Oh yes, yes.
I kind of prefer that it's a behavioral problem than a mental problem because to me it's kind of seemed like a bully, you know. Yeah,
Well, for me,
I mean they're like mentally function on it, like they know that thing is wrong, but they're still doing it. Yeah.
well, for me, it's like I find it. I mean, it's true that it's behavior, but there are some maybe it could be like mental. They have a mental problem to these pedophiles.
Why is that?
Cause like maybe they have a weird fetish.
Ooh,
Yeah.
ooh.
Yeah. So,
Ew.
and also like maybe and the other thing is because like they have insecurities towards women nowadays. Like women nowadays, they like back then women are usually depending on the men like to get the money, to handle all the family matters and everything.
Yeah, just like I said, like this society is kind of stick to men have to provide and women have
Yes,
to
yeah,
inside.
that's true. But nowadays, because like women, we have women rights. We also and also there's women that can be independent. They can rely more on themselves than the others, and that's why the men feel insecure with the women at their age. So they feel like they want someone that has let's say less knowledge or a bit dumber,
So that they can feel powerful.
superior like that. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
So they want to find someone that is not their level of knowledge.
So that they
That's
don't feel downgrade.
why.
Is that
Yeah,
what you mean?
yes, also yeah.
God.
Yeah, that's fine.
They don't. I don't know. It's like the fact that this pedophile can be anywhere and whoever it is, like they can be nice or they can be bad, and it's kind of scary that the thought of it could be someone that I know.
Oh no.
Oh no.
That's scary.
No.
Scary.
Yeah.
Let's hope not.
Let's hopefully not.
Okay. All right. So I think that will be all. Thank you for the discussion.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean that's a good topic to talk
yeah,
about.
yeah, true.